Growing up in this city taught me one thing. Everyone makes a deal with the devil. I just never expected mine to be real. You see, this place is run by 5 families. And in order to get anywhere in this world, you need to work with them. Play by their rules. That's what my father told me before he went missing. Before he was taken. Alliances built on a foundation of deceit. And now I make new bonds. Ones that can never be broken. Power is the only true pact. It's why I've traded everything for it. With it, I'll take my vengeance. Everyone here makes a deal with the devil, including me. It's why I'm now a shell, a carapace, a vessel, a zero ghost.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Here, final stretch, fellas. Final stretch.
Yeah.
Final stretch.
Yeah, the campaign's been amazing. Congratulations, guys. It's going really, really well.
Pretty excited. So thanks for all your help. 4 more days left.
A brief intro here. We are extremely excited to have 247Comics on once again on the show to talk about their newest release, Zero Ghost. So they released on VeVe last month at Comic-Con, and now they're doing a Kickstarter for their physical release and some other cool stuff going on that we'll get into today. So we're very excited to welcome Carl Choi back to the show again once more, as well as Justin Jordan and Brian Cheng, who worked on the comic. So I guess just to start off, we'll just do a quick round of intros, and maybe Carl, you can start us off and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in the comic space in general.
What's up, guys? Carl Choi from 247Comics. I'm the publisher. We are at the intersection of tech and traditional publishing. We are big fans of IP, and honestly, it's just really bringing it back to the simplest form of comic books, which is great story, great art. And I think when those two combos come together, it's undeniable. And our focus is really bringing that back. And our big mission is to get people to start reading comics again.
I'm Justin Jordan. I write comics. I wrote Zero Ghost. I'm probably best known for Luther Strode and Spread over at Image Comics, but I've worked for everybody doing everything at some point or another. So I finally checked everyone else off my list.
Hi, I'm Brian Cheng. I am the artist and co-creator of Zero Ghost. Been working in the comic industry for over 25 years. I've been an artist for Star Wars is probably the thing I'm most known for, along with Supergirl, and probably had a run on Conan as well, that people might remember me. But yeah, I'm excited about Zero Ghost, excited for people to see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about the art. But first, let's talk about the story a little bit. Justin, maybe as the writer for Zero Ghost, you can tell us a little bit about the story and what was the inspiration.
Sure. So Zero Ghost is the story of Kira Kane, who is the heir to a crime family that rules a futuristic kind of Hong Kong with magical power. They're the foremost of the 5 families that all use different kinds of magic to rule the criminal underworld. Her life is going pretty well until somebody kills her entire family, kidnaps her, tries to sacrifice her to control a death angel named Shrike, and she ends up bonded to a death angel named Shrike. And now Kira is on a roaring rampage of revenge. The only problem is that using Shrike's powers to get her revenge burns away her very soul. So the big question about whether she can kill everybody she needs to kill before she ends up deader than dead. So it's a love letter from me to both 80s and 90s Hong Kong action movies like John Woo stuff, but also early to mid 90s kind of comics like Witchblade and The Darkness and Spawn all kind of went into the DNA with, sort of a modern twist. And there's some John Wick in the DNA there, and, a few other things that I thought were cool. We kind of mixed into a stew and Brian and Will managed to bring it to life in an incredible way.
Yeah, the story's fantastic. Brian, the artwork is really great. It's been really fun reading this. I've read it a couple times actually, and I'm really excited for the second issue. I also really appreciate you guys putting in the back right here. You put the actual amount of variants that were created for each comic. But I thought that was a nice touch. I don't know if it's
Every print run. Dude, I'm a collector, man. I'm a freaking collector nerd.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah.
aren't we always like super curious, like how many print runs went out?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like we'll never know, right? And so going forward, I think for us is really about identifying the print runs for each run, so everyone knows what they're holding on to. And if you're like a true collector, you know, like a lot of us here, you know, we want all of it, right? So you're gonna have to hunt everything else down. So that's the reason we print the numbers.
Yeah, and actually, Carl, I know 247 Comics released Zero Ghost on VeVe first as a digital comic, and then followed it up with the launch on the Kickstarter campaign. Why did you decide to release this strategy, and how are the two different releases related to each other?
Yeah, so I think we could start off from, you know, just the study of the comic book industry. I think Justin, Brian, a lot of the creators that we work with at 24/7 has helped us do some deep studying and the kind of inside creative side. Now studying on the business side, we took a lot of time to visit comic book shops, talk to comic book shop owners, study kind of online strategies, digital comics, webtoons, and even looking at VeVe. I feel like there is a lot of different channels now of distribution, but I'm not sure the days of going to the comic book shop first is the right move anymore. And the reason, I'll tell you why, is because I attended Comics Pro, which is a trade show for all the retailers, distributors, and publishers every year for the first time earlier this year in February. And one thing I learned is that the biggest complaint from most comic book shops is, hey, independent publishers, yes, we'll carry your comics. We'll always carry your number one, but don't be surprised if we don't carry your number 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, because your number ones is still sitting there. So for me, the last thing I want to do is having them hold the bag. And often these comic book retailers and owners, they are the whales per se of the, you know, traditional comic book space. And so we have to think about how to treat them right. So to me, I'd rather give them comics for free and let them help spread the word for what we're doing, and then to have them hold the bag. Then when we come around and through these digital releases, build an audience that we could then funnel into the stores, then we'll start asking for your help to help buy in on, you know, the issues. So we're kind of backwards in the way we think. It's really about building audience digitally first before we bring it offline. So I mean, you guys can relate, right? Comics and crypto started online, and I see you guys present at Comic Cons more and more over the years. Now we're at like all the same cons.
Yep.
So without online, like, I don't think you would have that community that you could socialize with and connect with. And it was really fun. We all went to like Deadpool premiere together and like saw the power of how, you know, digital communities can come offline, come together and celebrate certain milestone moments. Those are good moments we want to create. Meaning, by the time we get to the stores, not only will the editions be its own print run, there'll be its own editions, and then on top of that, we want to make getting to the comic book shops an event in itself, and an event that our whole community can celebrate with us on.
Nice. So I guess when somebody comes to their Kickstarter, what exactly are they purchasing, or what are they getting at the Kickstarter compared to if they, you know, bought the digital version on VeVe?
Sure. Digital version, obviously, we have the different covers and we have the limited editions based on whatever VeVe print run is. So here is also a one and done print run. We'll print a tad above whatever we sell, but there's few opportunities. You'll get, you know, obviously the base edition that looks kind of like this, but it doesn't have the Ashcan edition on it. So it'll be the color issues 1 through 3. And then there is the artist edition, which is the second tier, which I highly encourage folks to grab, because how often do we get to see the art without the words and the color in its truest form? And you'd be surprised the kind of details and kind of the kinetic energy that you see on some of these pages. And for me as a publisher, I just always love the process. And so why not share this process with folks? So this is the San Diego Comic-Con Artist Edition, which is also limited to 247 copies. And it's printed there. And then we also had this guy at San Diego Comic-Con, which was the Manix variant. So there's another tier, if you guys want to scroll down, that also includes variant covers from our friends. So, for example, Brian, a good friend named Joe Benitez, who he worked with over at Top Cow. He's known for his works on Lady Mechanica and a bunch of others. And then we have Mannix, who's actually really popular Filipino artist. He has had his own commercials. He's like the Rob Liefeld of Philippines, where he's on commercials drawing, and he's a big deal. So now he's starting to break in America, and we want to welcome him by inviting him to do a cover with us. And the last but not least, and the perfect guy for this is Jay Lee, who's known for his kind of dark, gritty look and feel. He also contributed to the cover. So feel free to scroll down. You could kind of check out, the different covers. If you scroll down through the rewards and the story, everyone knows now in the world of CGC grading, that was kind of like the go-to for a lot of collectors. But more and more, with all the scams and all the scandals are happening within the grading territories, people are moving towards true collectibles. So what's happening is you're seeing a huge migration into the one-of-ones. And what better one-of-ones than the original art, which comes from the hands of the artists themselves. So we are actually offering, for a very limited time during this campaign only, Brian Ching's original art from his career, meaning titles like Star Wars, like Batman, his work on Witchblade. These are pages that are normally not accessible, but Brian broke them out of his vault and made it accessible to our Kickstarter backers. And so we have those tiers. And then furthermore, here you go. That's the Jay Lee cover, the art itself, which is freaking insane. That guy is just a madman. He's one of the funniest guys I know, but also the most wicked. And then Joe Benitez, and then we got Mannix. And what's super fun is each of them kind of took away something from the comic a little differently, where I feel like with Jay Lee, he went straight for the villain, which I think it's like the antagonist. It's all about what Jay brings best. And then Joe brought the protagonist, and then Mannix kind of hit the whole world. So it just really shows the level of world building these guys created. And then another thing that we're going to be really shooting for this week and really garnering all your help is getting to the 50K stretch goal. If we get to the 50K stretch goal, and I know you guys, crypto guys, 50K is nothing. Throw a couple more ETH in there. Cash out a couple of Bitcoins, and you'll get in there. Half a Bitcoin will get us to 50K. And but yeah, so if we get to 50K, we're unlocking a tier of metal cards, which would be digital cards, where we're going to be dropping the visuals very soon. And so through our social media, anywhere at 24Comics HQ, you'll be able to see the metal cards and what they look like. And think of these as like 90s, Marvel collectible cards with the characters in them. And when you flip it over, there's a little backstory. And then Justin, Brian, they design all the grids of all their power levels. And it's cool because, the way Justin thought about the power levels is there's reason within the stories of why they're powered a certain way. So we're super excited for folks to just kind of get into this whole world and deep dive into it.
That's epic. And actually, let's do a quick plug-in. This is actually the comic that we're going to be giving away, which is signed and sketched by
Mannix himself.
Yeah. So this is the actual comic we're going to be giving away. So make sure to get involved in the giveaway that's pinned to our Twitter account to win this comic and potentially another one that we're going to be announcing soon.
Real quick, too, is I know I met a lot of VeVe fam at San Diego Comic-Con who came up to the VeVe booth for Brian's signing. There are so many stories, just endless stories of people sharing about how VeVe was what brought them into comic book collecting, but also brought them into the comic book stores. And so so I feel like it's not far from the model that we have in place now. It's really about introducing to people the power of comics and the stories and art behind it digitally, but then bringing them into the physical space. And so super aligned and in a super long answer, hopefully that kind of covers why we're approaching the market with our specific strategy.
So my next question is to Justin here. So what has been your favorite part about working on Zero Ghost, from a writing perspective? And then, what has it been like collaborating with 247Comics and collaborating with an independent developer compared to publisher rather than Marvel or DC?
Oh, I think probably the most fun from an actual writing standpoint. So the most fun is actually getting to see what Brian and Will do with the script. But as far as when I was actually writing it, like the world building and stuff in this is a lot of fun. Like world building is fun. It's easy to get lost in it and mistake it for actual storytelling. I don't think I did that here, so I think you do get a big chunk of story, but like there was a real detailed world behind it that was a lot of fun to build and to play in once I got it built. Work with 247 has been great. It's been nice to be able to talk directly to the publisher and give them insights about what works and doesn't work in the industry and that kind of thing. And, as far as creatively, I kind of got to do exactly what I wanted to do. And, the book came out pretty much exactly as I wanted the book to be. So I got no complaints in that regard. And that's not something you often get with one of the bigger publishers. You're usually managing compromises almost anywhere. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, for me, pretty similar to Justin. But a big thing for me is the freedom. Um, just there's no parameters. Carl didn't set any parameters for the content. I guess if we're talking about like movie ratings, there was none of that. Like we have to tone down the violence, we have to tone down the how much skin we show, things like that. It was sort of up to us and sort of up to us to figure out, to see what kind of vibe we wanted to bring. But it was all up to Justin and I to sort of bring that. And yeah, when you have that level of freedom, it just kind of frees things up. It gives you confidence to kind of play around with that world. And I think, you're able to bring your best work to it, And Carl was just so supportive of everything that we were trying. And again, you just feel good about working on the title. Sometimes with the bigger, say Marvel DC, there's a lot of hands in there, and there's a lot of suggestions to where you should go, and that works sometimes. And they have big license projects that they need to steer and all that. But this one, again, is just the freedom to kind of go where you want with it. It's a big thing.
Yeah, hey,
Yo, Will, what's up,
I
man?
wasn't expecting Will to join us. What's going on?
No, we'll let Will answer the final question.
Yeah.
Will ask the final question.
Lightning round, Will. Go.
All good. Perfect timing. You get to answer the final question.
All right, Will. All right. Final question. Why should people back the Kickstarter?
Why should they? Because we're doing something uniquely different than what the other guys are doing. I mean, just in the ash can alone, the quality of paper that Carl has chosen for the books, speaks volumes about the passion he's putting behind the project. This isn't just something that we're doing as like some sort of cash grab gimmick. This is something we're actually putting our hearts into. This is something that's years in the making. Unlike other books that get digitized, they usually get digitized from the CMYK files that are the files that are intended for print. What we're doing is we've got the digital version straight from the RGB work files. And then we have separate files just for the print copies. That's the kind of care that we're putting into the project. So when you see the digital version, you're going to see variations of colors that are usually not printable. So you're going to see the color digital file the way I saw it as I was working on it, unlike the printed version. So it's little things like this that I say you should back the project. Like the kid in me, I cared about the quality of the books. I loved when it was one team working on an entire series. That was a big deal to me. I loved when the art that you saw on the cover was going to be the art that you saw on the interiors. And that's what you're going to be getting. So it's little things like this that, I say, back the project, give it a shot, see what we got to give you. And you might be pleasantly surprised.
Awesome.
I love that, Will. And I'm
Yeah.
so happy they brought the
Amen.
Amen. Mic drop. I love they brought the paper. And you're right. I meant to mention that the quality is fantastic. I mean, a lot of 9/8.
Yeah. About a nine.
I mean,
About a
like what
9/8.
these days? What are you paying like $5-6 for? You know,
Mm,
and then
mm.
look at what we're giving you. Like it's really great stock, man. You
Yeah.
know, like you don't see that from the other guys typically. You really don't. You know, so that for me, I personally love because I am very heavy-handed with colors. I go very deep and rich with colors, and sometimes it could flop when it's on cheap paper. You know, so you got to be really careful. Like I really like when I'm working with the other guys, I have to kind of change my mindset and my palette and my approach. But with Zero Ghost, I didn't have to hold back. You know,
Awesome.
I was able to go like full force into it, and you're seeing the end results.
Love
Definitely.
it. All right. Well, I guess do any of you guys have any other final closing thoughts about the campaign and about Zero Ghost before we close out?
Man, I don't know how else I could have said it better. I mean, Will knocked it out of the park. But I would just say, if you're a fan of comics, definitely give it a try. If you know any friends that are into comics, pass it to them because they would probably love it and they'll thank you for it. So, we also want to shout out everyone who's backed us so far and just want to say how thankful we are and grateful we are for your support because we're a small company and you're taking a chance on us. So we're going to work hard to double down on you.
It ends this Saturday at 10 a.m. PST. So Saturday, September 7th. Make sure to get involved, guys. Let's hit that $50,000 stretch goal, huh? Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Half a Bitcoin. That's all it takes, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Great reason to cash out. Great reason to cash out.
And make sure to get involved in this giveaway. Get this giveaway. You can go to our Twitter account. It's pinned to the top of our page. It's an awesome comic. We're going to ship it worldwide to a lucky winner. And make sure to get involved by following the links down, the details, including the Kickstarter campaign. And again, guys, congratulations on hitting your goal and exceeding your goal. This is really exciting.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for your guys' ongoing support, man.
Always. Thanks again for joining, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.